Alright, hello and welcome to the Stampscapes lab. What we have here is a piece of the half-page piece of the holographic printable vinyl sticker paper. Now I've used this many times in the past, but I don't know if I've done kind of a preliminary layout as extensive as this one. Not extensive in terms of the number of stamps used or the complexity of it, but I don't think I've stamped out kind of a whole kind of scenario layout. On here, I just used some dye-based inks because the printable vinyl sticker paper accepts water-based media, okay? So I've stamped things out like this, but I want to have some mass and, I don't know, solid forms in here that I can color in. Now, I can't really do that just directly onto this vinyl. So what I do is I lay down a base coat of the water-based pigment ink, Brilliance here by Sukaneko. And that really allows me to go in and color the dried version of this that's been applied on here. Now, after I apply some of this down on these forms in here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back in and restamp these forms using the water-based Brilliance ink right on top of the white Brilliance, okay, so that we don't have this kind of foil, holographic type of look to it, because it's really hard to see the imagery on here. I mean, you can stamp it in black, but I can't get any kind of nuance in there, so that's where the colored pencils will come into play after I've applied the white Brilliance ink. All right, so let's get into it. Now, I don't want to just cover up everything, because the whole idea of using this holographic is to get some of that holographic effect visible in the end result, but I do want to get some of this white over some of these forms in here so that I can color in the re-stamped Brilliance versions of them. So I needed to see where these images were going to stamp out, or were going to be, by first stamping them out initially. Okay, so this is going to be a cave. This is going to be the opening in the cave, and there's going to be some light coming through like that. And these are the walls of the cave. And I'm going to leave a little bit of a pond down here. I'm not sure how I'm going to do that area yet, but I want to have some shadows in here. And this will be this watery area. These rocks will be a little bit more of a solid form, as well as the overhanging ceiling in here, and then on some of the walls. But again, I want some of that rainbow kind of holographic look to show through, okay? So, that being said, I'll just be working with various degrees of opacity with how much, as a result of how much of this white pigment ink I apply to it. All right, so that's, I don't know, it's kind of a, to me, it's, yeah, I don't know. I've done this before, but to me, it's still, I haven't done it in a while, so for me, it's a little bit confusing. So that's why in the description, I wrote this kind of theoretical technique that I'll be applying in here. Okay, so in this opening here, I want to have a decent amount of light coming in. Okay, so I'll go with that right there, and you can see that it's opaque like that, okay? Now, you don't have to worry about things. This is not going to go on really smoothly, okay? It's going to be kind of blobby and blotchy and everything else. Now, I'm using the Brilliance ink, okay? So that's kind of important here, because Brilliance pigment ink is a water-based white pigment ink. Other types of pigment inks are oil-based, okay? And this type of printable vinyl, it's really meant to be able to go through your inkjet printer, and your inkjet printer inks are water-based, okay? So I don't know, I mean, you can try other types of pigment inks in here and oil-based and see if it works. It might work with certain brands, but this paper is just, this surface is just not designed for oil-based media. Okay, so I don't know if it'll dry on here. This holographic printable vinyl sticker paper has this emulsion coating too. So there are holographic vinyls out there, but they are not printable, okay? So that's key here. So it's a printable vinyl, and it's a water-based media that I'm using on here, okay? All right. There's also holographic cold laminate vinyl too, okay? So there's like 3 different types, okay? But the printable is key. And I'm just saying that a lot here because some people go out and get it and say, hey, I got the wrong one. Yeah, or a lot of people did. When I first started kind of experimenting with this years ago. I don't put a full description if I'm posting it on Facebook or something like that too, but I don't know. After that happened a few times, I try to really point that out. This type of holographic material also comes in rolls too, and those ones are not the printable types though. You can do other things on them, but just not this particular technique. Okay, so we have these walls of the cave right here, and you can see where that white ink is being applied like that when I tilt it like that. But you see that right there? See this? I want some opacity on here so I can color in, various areas with some shading with some colored pencils. The colored pencils don't work directly on the holographic, but they do apply to the dried Brilliance ink, which makes for an amazing combination of media. Because normally you can't apply things like colored pencils on, things like foils and things, so you can get the dynamics of your metallic surfaces, but you can get the kind of the softer applications of things like colored pencils just by creating a foundation with this Brilliance pigment ink. Okay, so I'm applying this down, and as I do this, this white is like dry to the touch almost instantly, which is really amazing too. And that's another aspect of the emulsion on here. The emulsion is it's a fast drying surface, and that's so that when you're using this with your inkjet printers, printing out various things, photographs or whatever, your inks will dry really quickly on things like photo paper or the printable vinyls, okay? So that being said, that's why I mentioned it's also going to be a little bit of a blobby type of application, because as I touch that and tap it around, it really dries very quickly, okay? But you can see I'm applying this right in here, and you can still see a lot of that cool kind of rainbowy type of look and color scheme going right through there, but it's becoming a little bit more opaque. So this is just the bare paper down here, but you can see this kind of white translucency to anywhere to opacity, but you still get that shimmering light going through if it hits at a certain angle. So it's really the end results are really they have they have different personalities depending on the light that's hitting it. So you can have a finished card, but it looks different with different lighting on it. So it's just not the same looking card, just at different angles or at different types of lighting that are on it. Sunlight looks a little bit different than incandescent or LEDs and fluorescence and everything like that. And again, at what angle you have them at, or the intensity of lighting. It's really a pretty fun type of medium to use. But in order to use more different types of media on it, we create this little bit of a foundation here. And the beauty of it is that you don't have to put it on really smoothly. It doesn't even allow for that. But by the time you stamp your imagery over the top of it, these little areas that are a little bit more built up and blobby just look lighter than other areas. So it just makes it look like light is hitting it differently. Now, you do want to get areas where you might think you might want to use a little bit more of colored pencils on there. If you want to layer them a little bit, build up a little bit more pigment ink in that area. It's kind of hard to tell, you know, it's like, okay, like I don't even know where I want to use a lot more colored pencils. I might want to use a little bit more in some of the shadow areas. So if there's darker areas on the designs, I tend to go a little bit darker. In this case, this is like a cave type of scenario, so I might want to hit, you know, the far ends of the cave a little bit darker. I don't know. There's no kind of set formula. As I say that, maybe want some lighter areas with some more color at the far end of the cave, just to introduce some more visual interest into it. So it's right here where you get this kind of holographic area coming through the wall of the cave. And this is going to be like a ridge or something like that that goes down into another pool. This is like kind of my mid-ground area in here. I'm going to put some figures right on top of this, like it's this little slope in here. So I'm going to differentiate this area right in here from maybe this area in here. So I used the ledge as my sidewalls there, and I used a similar design, but a little bit of a different texture with the boulders with lichen right across here, okay? And again, these are going to be re-stamped in black right over the top of this, okay? So let's create a little bit of a separation between the boulders with lichen here, which was stamped out 3 times, and the ledge stamp that was stamped kind of more vertically right here. This is an area down here where I'm not sure what I want to do with that. I think I'll go with a little bit more pigment ink down here to create kind of a watery, you know, like a little cave pond or something like that. And I was thinking I can add in, I'm going to use my cypress knees here that were used on this kind of Halloween scene right down in here, but I thought I could use those knees as stalagmites and stalactites. So we'll try that and see if that works. All right. Keep in mind too, when you're doing something like this, in this type of technique right here, is you're not really kind of a right or wrong with anything that you do in here, because you kind of manipulate it, you know, with the colored pencils and other things that you apply in here. You can kind of alter things a lot, believe it or not, you know, on this type of paper, even though everything gets locked down pretty fast. You know, it's a really fast drying surface, but you know, you can kind of layer things in here, and you can smooth things out pretty well with colored pencils. You can add other imagery in here. And I say that because things look pretty weird, you know, when you're doing this. I mean, I don't know of any other type of media or technique where, you know what I mean? It's like in the middle of the process, you know, things look so kind of, I don't know, whatever, weird, or you know, it seems like, you know, we're really kind of suffering in terms of the technique. Because it's not a good look in here, you know, at this point in time. It's like, I don't know. It's like a piece of like silver foil or holographic foil, and just super, look at that It's super, super blotchy in there. Okay. You can see that right in there, but let's get kind of the gist of how this might look. See, we're still retaining quite a bit of that rainbowy color look in there, which is the entire purpose of using it. So I'm just not quite sure sometimes if I don't do this for a while of how much to apply in there. But you could stamp out the imagery in there. And it's like, okay, I got a little bit too much of it. I mean, you could go right over the top of your, your darker impressions, apply more of this in there, and just restamp over the top of it again, if you've kind of whited out too much of the impression. So you can just keep layering on here, and you can build up as many layers as you want to, so you can almost see it as like just covering up anything that you want to kind of obscure or redo, okay? It's that kind of forgiving of a medium, which you really can't do with a lot of other types of media, because it would just, it would look overworked, or you'd be able to see the things underneath it. But on this one, you can really layer a lot because of that emulsion. All right, I think that will do it. I wish I can get kind of a more graceful kind of... maybe I can. I was going to say a graceful kind of application of this. Like a smoother one at times. But the thing is, as soon as I make this streak, I bet you it's kind of dried, like on the surface of this. With like I don't know, maybe after a ½ inch application. It's like, I don't know, as if we were trying to blend like StazOn ink, or like a Sharpie marker ink or something like that. That's like super, super, it dries really, really fast. All right, let's get a little bit more color or white into some of these areas while I have a little bit more of a shadow form. It's kind of weird going in here. The areas that I'm going to want darkest, I'm applying the most white, okay? And that's so I can build up more of a colored pencil layer on top of those areas, okay? So it's like I'm kind of having to think kind of in reverse almost. I tend to like to make my four corners pretty dark to create a strong vignette around the scene. So let's do a bit of that. All right, and I think that is it. Hello, Bugs. How are you? How's life, the family, the extended family, the four-legged family members? All right, look at that. Isn't that crazy looking? Look at this right here. That is so weird looking. All right. It's like I don't know, a winter menagerie with a bunch of like snow, where it's like a snowstorm or something like that. All right. Brilliance ink. All right. So, we don't need a stamp positioner for this. So I'm going to try to roughly get stamp over my previously, my whatever, my position, my whatever, registration impressions. Okay, so let's go with this right here. All right. See, that's what that looks like right there. Okay, so you see you get those colors showing right through there, but they're a little bit more opaque, or a lot more opaque than just the bare paper. Oops, I got a little bit of a double impression right there, but like I said, you know, I'm not sweating it because we have a lot of other things to layer in here. I'll try to go a little bit higher than my previous impression, maybe. That's a little bit better. Doing well, thanks. I saw some of your pieces came up on Facebook again that you did previously. I missed a couple of those too. Someone said they missed it, and I did too. I always enjoy seeing that work of yours. All right. Let's see. Coming in this way, go a little bit higher. I'm getting the technique down a little bit more. But see, this image right here is going to go in there, so I don't think I'll be able to see that kind of ghost image up there. All right, so you have that. Just pretty much the entire, you know, well, the entire foundation is just the two stamps right here. You can do this on a really huge piece too. It could be a full page, or they don't make this vinyl on 11 by 17, but if you're just going to do like a cave system, you could do a pretty extensive cave system, you know, 11 by 17 or whatever, just using these two stamps right here, repeated quite a bit. Okay. Now, I didn't do any kind of masking when I was doing my preliminary impressions with that light blue ink, but I will mask off these forms before stamping these impressions in between those areas like that. All right, so let's go with this one first, right in here. Oh, let's see. Let's do this. Let's go with this one right here. And then we'll do this type of thing right here for these what cave wall types of impressions. Okay, we'll do these ones right here. I think you can pretty much use other types of ink for these impressions over the top of the Brilliance ink. You can use a StazOn, but the thing about the StazOn though, you really have to work fast. Because like if I was doing this right here, if I just ink this up, I mean I could ink it up right now again, but you really have to work fast, otherwise it's going to dry on the stamp really quickly. But I imagine the StazOn would be fine. I don't know. The VersaFine Clair, now that you have this Brilliance foundation on here, the Brilliance will be a little bit absorbent. But again, I'm not sure if that Clair, an oil-based pigment ink, would dry like thoroughly on this type of surface, because it would only have the Brilliance to dry via absorption. Because again, this emulsion on here is just not going to accept, I don't think, an oil-based media. Beyond the surface of it, it's too non-porous. Okay, let's go about right here. All right, that is that. So we have our cave there. And here's the kind of the look in terms of some of that color in there. So we've made a lot of it opaque, but you see all those little colors that are still kind of within there that are kind of fun to look at. And then see there's like a cooler spectrum in there. And let's see if there's that kind of warmer, yeah, it's like a little rainbowy look, as you go across in there. Yeah, see that's really shimmery and kind of iridescent a little bit. All right, we have this area right down in here still, and you know what, I'm going to do something. I'm going to add a little bit more of this. I'm going to go with this ledge right here. I'm going to come up right here. A three-sided mask here. There we go. I kind of covered up that bluish area right in there, which I could do with a colored pencil too, but then that'll just save me a lot of time. All right, so we have that. Now let's create a little bit of like a water's edge right down in this area. I'll do that with the Tiny Rocks Small. It's like a little sand bank right here, maybe. Now, if I was stamping this directly onto that holographic vinyl, it really grabs the ink really fast, but I'm stamping it into the white Brilliance ink there, so I can get quite a few impressions off of just one single inking, okay? So it creates a little bit of an edge like that. So here's our little pond right here. All right, let's see if I can indeed use some of these as my stalagmite type of thing. I was inspired by this There's this channel out there. I think it's called Action Adventure Twins, and these brothers that go down in these like enormous cave systems. It's really amazing. They're doing all kinds of spelunking and going down these holes where there's like this little tiny opening of like 2 feet, but it opens up into this like gigantic chamber. You know what I mean? It's like it seems like all their videos are like that. These huge, amazing cave systems. But on one of them, it just had this really amazing kind of network of these huge amounts of stalactites and stalagmites. And it was interesting because the ones on the stalactites, they're a different shape than the stalagmites on the bottom. So it was really interesting seeing all this different types of varieties. And, they're going into like these caves that were, very few people have probably seen them before, just those types of cave enthusiasts. But it seems like they're going into these like new ones like all the time. All right. See these going down like that. I'll put some over here. All right. And then what I'm doing in here is I'm kind of layering it a little bit. So I'll go like this. And then we'll have that stalagmite a little bit further off behind another overhang or rock. Like that. Okay. They kind of get a little bit obscured. I do see that. Just because of the, all that different texturing in there. I thought this would be kind of cool, though, for a kind of a Halloween scenario, because it looks like it's like the mouth of a, I don't know, like a monster with all these teeth. Kind of within view. All right, something like that. Okay. Now, the thing that I had in mind for this area right in here, I wanted to do this big, like toad. It'd be like the monster of the cave. I have these smaller ones here too, but I think I want to go pretty dominant here with this large one. I lifted that off a little bit too early. Let me see. And I didn't get the side of it there. Let me see if I can just kind of eyeball it there. There we go. Oh, that's a stamp positioner. All right. Hey, I have room for a couple more of these little frogs here. Maybe not that third one. Let's see. Yeah, let's go with these two. Okay, that one's not going to get stamped out, so. That looks a little unbalanced to me. Let me do this. I'm going to do another one, I think. Let's do that third one. We'll do them off to the side a little bit. All right, here we go. A lot of, it's like the cave of little creatures in here. All right, so in here, I'm trying to decide if I want any other kind of foliage or anything in here else. Let's see. I think this hanging bat, which will kind of blend in a little bit with the stalagmites, tights. Go with something like that. I want a pretty decent amount of creatures in here to make it creepy enough, you know. It's like a highlights book. It's like find 2 spiders, find 2 bats, find a snail, or something like that. Okay. Now, what I wanted to do, I was going to stamp a zombie, or just, I don't know, some kind of figure right there. Should it be a zombie, or it could be like the alien too? Maybe that would be kind of weird. Let's go with the... Let's go with the zombie here. Yeah, it looks like it'll fit without having to mask anything off. There we go. I think that added It definitely increased the creepy factor in here by quite a bit, which is what we wanted. All right. I think my reclining figure would have looked really good down here too in this cave. It's like our bath or something like that. All right, so let's give this, everything is just, it's all of a uniform texture in here right now, so we really need to give it kind of body and variation in here. There's no kind of, it's not stable right now. It just, everything is all this kind of universal texture. So it needs some like stabilizing mass and weight to it. And I guess differentiation is the thing. All right, so what we're going to do is we're just going to go in and I'm just going to lightly start shading in some of my forms. I'm giving them a little bit more mass. And what I'm doing is I'm just kind of, I'm staying with the shading kind of configuration that the stamps already have. So this area on the stamp is kind of darker right in that shadow area. So I'm going in and just reiterating that what a shading convention that already exists. Okay, I'm just kind of reiterating it, making it a little bit stronger like that, so you can see these forms look a little bit more rounded now. And let's go right down here. This is kind of the area right here that I was thinking about for the water's edge. So I'll just come straight across in here, right at the base of these rocks, and then I'll try to transition it a little bit. We'll go darker kind of at the base, and then as I move up the rock, I'm kind of using a little bit less pressure on this Prismacolor black. All right, so you can kind of see this kind of form starting to take shape a little bit more. All right, so those rocks are kind of coming into focus a little bit more. So these rocks right here just, yeah, they semi-blend into each other. So what I'll do is I'll just make this rock back here a little bit darker. In the hope that it kind of separates that row of rocks from this front row of rocks a little bit, okay? And I can do the same thing right over here. We'll just make this one a little bit darker. Looks like I added a lot more white pigment ink right around in here because this, I could feel the colored pencil apply really easy and transfer into this area right in here. And here it's a little bit lighter with a little bit more exposed foil, so I'm not getting as strong of a transfer of this pencil into some of these areas right here. You know, which is no big deal, but you know, it's you know, you can feel the difference a little bit. Okay, I'm kind of creating a little bit of a stronger kind of framing around the entire piece. Again, I like to do the four corners quite a bit darker, but we'll go darker right down in here. like so. And then let's do the same thing right up here on the ceiling or the cave. Maybe some of the stalagmites are a little bit darker, maybe, to stand out. Okay, like that. And then, see these rocks up here are kind of bottom lit. These ones are top lit. So maybe what I'll do is I'll kind of increase the shadows of the walls right around where it's a little bit lighter like that. I'll put a little bit of a darker sidewall just to create a little bit of a kind of a contrast. Same thing right here. See, there's this big light area right here. So just come in here and add a little bit of a tone right in here just to create that little bit more contrast for separation. Kind of going into the shadow areas of this rock right here, where those areas are a little bit darker like that. I'm just going in with this colored pencil, and I'm going in and coloring those shadow areas or textures with a little bit more of a gray scale application of this. Okay, now I'm getting close to the opening of the cave entrance, as it were. And I have a choice to make. I mean, it's just one of those options right here. If I want that cave entrance to look a little bit lighter in the opening, I can make the opening around it darker, so I'm creating contrast. But if I want it to look like light is streaming through here into the cave, then maybe I should leave, these areas right in here lighter with less of the colored pencil. Or you can do a little bit of both. Like what I can do is I can leave this wall very light and this wall right here, or the ceiling darker so you get the contrast, but also you have a little bit more of the light kind of pouring through type of thing. And let's do that here. Let's put a little bit more shade, maybe on the roof by the entrance, making that a little bit darker. Like that. And then, I don't know, to differentiate that wall from this one, maybe we'll go a little bit darker right here. Going back to work on the this little whatever, fissures in the rock here a little bit more. All right, let's see here. So I kind of have things somewhat toned in. Let's see, let's hit this a little bit more. There's just kind of a light application of this colored pencil right now. So I think what I'll do is I'll get a little bit more gutsy and go in with, to create some stronger shadows and to, just change some of the textures a little bit more. Or, I don't know, whatever, contrasts, I guess, would be more accurate. Okay, oh, right down in here around those frogs, let's create a little bit of a, we'll have them casting a shadow into the water. Put some striations into the water too. We'll see if I added enough of a white pigment ink to allow me to do that. Looks like did it in some areas. Some of it, it's like you're just trying to use a colored pencil like on plastic or something like that. It's not going to work. Like right here, this frog right here is largely just stamped directly onto just bare vinyl. So it's not, this doesn't have anything to kind of grab onto. I can get a little bit of a application of it, but it's not very strong. Okay. Let's see. A little bit more contrast in some areas to kind of defines the forms a little bit more, maybe. Kind of there, this whole wall here has a similar type of lighting on it, so I'm kind of darkening up this whole area right in here a little bit more, just to tweak it a touch. Framing it off a little bit more. I think what I'm going to use in here too, I'll do a tweaks video for this one. I think I'm going to use some of my either glitter or the crushed, I forgot what they call that glass in here to give to put in like these little shimmering, whatever, emeralds, jewels, and I'll put them in the cave, or maybe like some diamonds glistening in here. I think that would be pretty cool. I really like playing around with those types of three-dimensional reflective elements in these cave scenarios. And they will really blend in well too with all of this kind of existing color in here. I think this is the most colored, black colored pencils I've ever used on a scene. All right. Hello, Debbie. You're up late too. It's like midnight stamping. It's like, okay, I was like wanting to get in here like for hours, but something else kept coming up. So it's like, one more thing to do. And it's like, let's get to this scene that I wanted to do. I wanted to do this cave scenario with some of these like creatures in here. And then I've been wanting to, create this kind of, I don't know, monster Halloween-y type of scenario. So, and I haven't done this technique, I don't know, in a little while with the, that foundation of the white pigment ink, because I really love using the colored pencils in this type of material there. 1:30 there. What time do you usually go to sleep? I'm usually up, I don't know. I don't think I go to sleep at before 3 a.m. typically. But 3 a.m. is probably about the average. Okay, let's see. I'm adding in a little bit of blue into my shadow areas here. That looks pretty good. I don't know if you can see it at all on your your screens out there, but it's kind of giving the this blue feels really, really soft too, so it's really applying nicely, even where that black colored pencil applied pretty well, but not as well as this blue one. So I'm going with something softer. Now, that being said, you might have some colored pencils that are really kind of hard. They don't have colored pencils in that standard, like like drawing leads that are like a H, 6H, 4H, 2H, and all the B's that are like, the softer ones. But I don't know, maybe they should have some kind of rating on them. So that you can kind of have some kind of idea of the softness of the colored pencils. Some colored pencils out there are really like the entire line is pretty hard, so I don't know if it would apply on top of the Brilliance ink as easily as another brand maybe. I've heard that the Prismacolors are generally, fairly soft in comparison to a lot of the other brands out there. Each one of them has their kind of strong points, I guess, strengths and weaknesses. Sometimes it's not like either or, but you just use them in conjunction with, one another. For certain types of things, you can build up maybe softer on top of hard. I don't know. But this blue looks pretty decent in here. I think it's added quite a bit to it, just in terms of the tones. It's a little bit more subtle, I think. All right. So before we end this, I was asleep, but wake up a lot. Go grab your stamps, Debbie. If you can't sleep and if it's driving you nuts, stamp out a scene of someone sleeping in it, then you will like subconsciously merge with the whole kind of the scenario that you're doing. Just be careful that you don't like fall asleep at your desk though. But look at all these different colors in here. That's what's kind of fun about this this holographic vinyl here. Oh, hi, Linda. Yeah, so the cave of earthly delights right in here. So Linda, what I did was I stamped out everything first in a light blue ink, and then I knew where things were going to be situated, and then I toned in with the I don't know if it toned in. I gave a base layer with the Brilliance ink, okay, but not doing it so complete that we are not getting some of that color showing. And then once I got that done, I stamped over the top of those initial impressions, those light blue ones, with the black pigment ink, okay? So you can still see, I mean, I didn't match, those other impressions that well, but it just turns into some extra textures in there like that. Yeah, Debbie. So any person in there, a fisherman or a boat or whatever, just put like the Z's coming out of them like that, like in that that thought or whatever the sound little things that you do. So I'd have the Z's coming out of here, and that'll you know make me sleepy really fast. Who needs what is that? Who needs melatonin? All right, let me see if I can get a little bit of white pigment ink on here just to create a little bit of this haze in here now. Like I said, I haven't done this for a while. Even if it's been like a couple months, I think it's been longer than that though. I tend to forget some of the different types of whatever the techniques that were used before. And I'm not going to go back and like watch an old video of mine to see like, maybe, if I've done something once, I might, go back and look at it. I did that for one piece. I had to go back and find out kind of like what kind of ink I used for something, I think. But, for something like this, I'm not going to do that. Okay, so anyways, what I'm getting at is right here. It's like, did I apply some, like, this pigment ink, this foggy thing application afterwards? Because you can get a little bit blobby, because it grabs this ink really fast. Maybe not at this point in time after I've already applied a lot of that pigment ink down there. But yeah, see that, like that haze coming through there. Everything right in here right now is a little bit too, from a textural standpoint, all of this in here, it's too similar and it's like driving me nuts. Not that it was an error, that's the way it's got to go, but what we're going to do now is we're just going to soften some of it up like this right in here. And look at that, that looks so much better. So we'll need, a bit of that like here and there throughout, I think. Yeah, so you see all those bats right in here. So, Debbie, if you just got up, you need to find 4 frogs, 2 spiders, 4 bats. The zombie's not going to be any problem. Oh, but did you see where I used the what do you call them? The cypress knees. Right here, Knee, the knees like this. I didn't use the small one, I should have. But I have those as, the stalactites and stalagmites in here so that, they're hanging down like that from up top there. I don't know, probably someone has already done this before. I don't know, maybe one of you guys did it before. But I didn't remember if you did, because I have a bad memory. So if anyone of you did it before, let me know and I'll give you credit for it. Maybe it's where I got the idea from. It was like in my subconscious or something like that, but I forgot the scene. All right, so let's see. Let's get some more of this kind of this glowing, light coming into this scene right here. Maybe I'll just kind of put it on the one side, and again, I'll just leave that side a little bit more crisp just for a textural variation. Let's see, let's go like this. Have some more of this kind of fog creeping in like this. This is this always changes the scene, but this one's really this one really needed it here, just from all the sharp kind of really similar textures that are all throughout here. It really needs that softer type of element in here. Let's do this. Let's put a little bit more up here too, I think. I think that I didn't put too much of a white underneath that, so I need to be careful because it's kind of grabbing the ink really fast here, and I don't want to get like a blob there at this point in time. I mean, if I do, I just kind of tone it back out with a colored pencil, but, you know, I just assume avoid something if I can, you know, just so I don't have to remedy it, you know, with another technique or another whatever application. Let's do this right in here. Let's create a little bit more. See these rocks right here? I think they're pretty well separated from this top portion right in here, but we can do it even more with, you know, some texture. Yeah, no positioner. Who wants to use a stamp positioner, Linda? I don't know, maybe me sometime. Where I want to do a stamp positioner sometime. The one time that I think about it more than others, you know, are with the word stamps. When I'm stamping the word stamps out, like as the last step. Sometimes I think, you know, that word, you know, stamp or that stamp positioner might not be a bad thing. If it's one of those moments where, you know, if I get it kind of skewed, I can't undo it. Like if I stamp it on foil, you just wipe it off and redo. But if it's on something like, you know, like a cardstock, you know, you have to live with a skewed word stamp. I don't like that. I don't like my word stamps to be kind of, you know, crooked or whatever, skewed, lopsided. Everything else, I, you know, kind of don't care. You know what I mean? If it's a, you know, a branch or something like that, you know, or a rock. All right, kind of adding that little bit of fog and mist right in there, like so. That bringing in quite a bit of, I'm using more than I thought I would in here, but I think it's just, it really needed that extra texture. Let's make it, let's put in some right here. I need to be a little bit careful right in here because that's supposed to be like the water line right there, or the water's edge right around in here, for these frogs, toads, or whatever. Let's see. And I didn't apply a lot of that white ink in there before, so I don't want to get it all blobby. So I think that sometimes I think when I'm looking at it right here, I'm thinking that I'm kind of like smearing some of that black ink, but there's like no black ink on this at all. It looks kind of weird though. Yeah, kind of coming around a little bit. I added a little bit more. It's a little bit blotchy now though. Let's see. Let's do that, but then let's come back into it. Let's redefine that edge a little bit more with some additional rocks, like about like so. All right. And I wonder what color eyes I should do those frog eyes with. Should I do it in white again? I guess that should. Silver could be interesting for those frog eyes. I'm not sure. Yeah, those stalactites were kind of a fun addition in here with the knees. Let's just go with the white here for those frog eyes. Or should I just leave them be? Nah, they don't really stand out though like this. I think I better go into it with this. If I don't do the full eyeball, I'll just do a little bit of a highlight on there. You know, like that. And they stand out a little bit more. I wish I could create a little bit of a darker shadow down here. I'm trying to think. I can't remember if I've used. I don't think I want to use alcohol in here. I think I tried that before, and I was thinking I don't think that was a really good way to go. Let me try a little bit of violet in here in my shadows too. I'm looking at some of these areas on the wall where it's a little bit textural with that blue. This holographic has all those kind of blues and violets just kind of inherently in there anyway. So I'm just kind of bringing in some of that same tone. The colors that you apply with these different colored pencils on here, those will be the colors that you kind of see, you know, when the holographic touches, see that, like that little purplish tinge up there. When the holographic coloring isn't really engaged and you just see it as just, you know, without any of that light reactive, you know, type of surface. That's where, you know, these come into play. But yeah, I want to dip into those other little gems and things like that, or the crushed glass, that holographic crushed glass, and we'll put some in the, like the water here. I think we'll have some raised types of things, or, like this little diamond looking clear crystals. We'll put some of those on the wall. We'll cluster some like right around in here and in here, I think. And then maybe some of those crushed glass pieces right in here. I don't know, maybe, I don't know, the crushed glass I guess can be throughout too. There's so many, these different colors in that surface area right in there. When you go like three-dimensional like that, they really stand out, but I think they'll blend in with all these other colors in here like that. So that's what I'll want to add in as some of the finishing touches. All right, so let me go in and try to add in a little bit of some highlights on here. The highlights might be a little bit too kind of harsh in here, so I think I'm going to go fairly conservative with some of these, or with them in general, until I get those other types of reflectives in here, the three-dimensional ones, the crystals and the glass. Okay, so I'm just adding some of these little highlights on the edges of some of these rocks, because this is kind of like a white light kind of coming into this scenario, and we'll have some of these little highlight on the rocks. Let me see if I can show you. So you can kind of see them a little bit like this, a little bit more. I haven't added in a ton, but you can see them a little bit more like that. All these little, I don't know, whatever, reflective little elements like that. See, these are little areas right in here are kind of light, so I'll just kind of add a little bit more of a highlight to those areas that are kind of, that retain the lightness like that. So you can see this right here. So those little touches of dots on those little areas. See this one rock right here? Since that rock is lighter, what we're saying is that there's light kind of hitting it. So and again, it's not planned. It's just, that's the way it kind of ended up. So I put a few little highlights on there just to reflect more of that lighting in there. Okay, now this is supposed to be water, and you can see the tops of some of these rocks right in here, like right there. I'm just kind of putting a few, like I said, for now. And then when I add in other things later, the whole cave might illuminate more, and then where more of these kind of reflective little kind of sparkles will kind of blend in with it more. And whatever, it won't look so kind of extreme. Okay, so you see them on tops of some of these rocks right there. Kind of really stands out quite a bit like that, but no one's going to be looking at the card like that. They're going to be looking at mostly like this, where these kind of little highlights are just little kind of little slightly more sparkly, okay? All right, let's see, on some of these little stalagmites, let's go with a little bit of a highlight on some of the side of them. I can go with a really kind of narrow kind of streak like this on them, because this pen's like new, so it's really flowing well. Light is coming from right here, so the stalactites here on the side of the stalactites facing the light source. I'll put a little bit of that highlight on that side of them, if I could see them. Some of them are kind of hard to see at this point in time. Yeah, okay, here's another one right here. Kind of got obscure with all my white in there. All right. I think I just put a little bit of a, okay, now you see those little highlights on the sides of those mites. That. Okay, I guess I gotta do them to the bats too. The bats. Oh, maybe I won't do them to the bats because I don't want to have like all these like lines all throughout here. But those bats, though, I did give them these little beady eyes, you know. And what we'll do is we'll illuminate those eyes. In the darkness like that. See, they'll kind of stand out a little bit more. I even gave the spider little eyes like that too, so you can see them glowing in the darkness. Like so. And let's see. Oh, so around on the cave entrance opening. It's supposed to be a very creepy scenario, but we still wanted to make it look as like beautiful as possible. You know, something fit for a, you know what I mean, for you know, The Walking Dead. All right, so I think that will do it for kind of like step one. Actually, it's like step whatever 10 or something like that. But we'll put in you know, I might be able to use, you know, I think like a hanging branch or something like that. I think would be a nice. I don't know if it would show up in here, but it would look like those roots, you know, coming down from the top a little bit, just to break up some of the monotony of this texture in here. And then we'll go with, you know, some of those little two-dimensional, or three-dimensional types of elements in there. I haven't used them in so long. I don't even know where they are. Oh, okay, so something like this. See, this is the gradient. Okay, I already forgot that AB stood for. But this is crushed glass right here, okay? And you can see it. See, if we can get kind of that element in a cave thing, and I put it, you know, here and there throughout, that'll kind of twinkle in here. So we got this kind of this holographic look in here with the, you know, that printable holographic vinyl. It's like a foil, right? But with that emulsion on there, which makes it printable. But we can get, so that's kind of like a soft glowing color scheme in there, okay? So like what I'm trying to do with the white paint pen is adding that crisp little element in here, but these right here will give that crisp little sparkle in here in certain little areas. So we'll get some of these in there and we'll glue them down. This is crushed glass, but some of it's kind of a little bit three-dimensional just because of the nature of how they make it, but a lot of it is flat enough, you know, to apply in here. And, you know, you apply it down on there, it sticks pretty good. If you're to mail something like this off, I suggest, you know, you put something over the top of it, you know, for mailing, but, you know, it's flat enough to go through the mail just fine without having any types of problems in there. I I don't get it right most of the time, even using a positioner. Oh, I notice with you, Linda, you're like me. When I see some of your pieces kind of you favor one angle over another. But I notice that because I do the same thing. My most of my things, if when I'm stamping something, they're like I favor one side, so things are kind of like tilted slightly, like a couple degrees or something like that. Nothing huge, but I do that too. On just like everything's like my knees there. I think it's mine lean a little bit. My things tend to lean a little bit right, so it's with the like I said, with most of the things it doesn't matter, but with the word stamps, you know what I mean? I don't want them leaning right, you know. So sometimes I doing that is like, okay, am I overcompensating for it? You know, I don't know. I the thing that I need to do is I just need to stamp it out once or twice, and it's like, okay, I got it. And then when I stamp it on there, you know, I usually get it that way, but I am kind of holding my breath. Especially if it's like on stays on, you know, and it's like on a live stream. I don't know, but stays on, you know, the foils though that I'd be using the stays on. I guess that's you know, completely you know, fixable or something like that. Hello, Phyllis. How are you? Phyllis, you're up late, aren't you? I don't know. All right. So that is, like I said, not quite step one here, but I do want to add in those extra little elements into this one. I wasn't like thinking about it before, but I don't know. I forgot about it. As I started working through this one, I was thinking, oh yeah, those little extra elements like this will be a lot of fun, I think. And I mean, look how great this looks in here too. You know, I love that look right there. And I think it'll match really well with these, you know, these different colors in here. So I think these are kind of like holographic, I think, too. So it's like you go like this, or is it, I don't know, are they the same color? I'm not sure. Maybe they're just flashing those different colors. I don't know. So that being said, do I just, you know, do I pick out certain ones, you know, to go in certain areas? I don't know. I don't think I would bother doing that. But we'll add some of that. And you know, some of the clear the clear crystal ones too. These ones really look really fun. You know, position little areas in here. I got to remember how I did some of these though, because I don't know. Sometimes if you put them like everywhere, it looks kind of bizarre. So if you kind of cluster things, I guess, or you can do like a vein of something like that going through there on the wall, maybe. Maybe that would be kind of realistic in terms of you know, like a vein of you know, I don't know, whatever precious minerals or you know something like that would be you know, look the best. I don't know. I need to figure it out. I don't think I ever really figured it out though. You know, from experimenting with that before. But I do like the look though. But I just kind of put it, you know, a little, I don't know, winging it every time because I don't do it very often. So I don't know. Maybe I'll look at some source material too. Online, I'll check out some like, I don't know, type in like gem and caves or something like that. Or crystal cave, you know, or something like that. And then I will probably get some good ideas on how to approach that. All right. So anyways, if you guys can't sleep, you know, like I said, stamp out something and just put the little Z's coming out of them like that. That'll take care of it for you. That or some warm milk or something like that. And but your stampers though, so you know, do the Z thing, you know, coming out of there, and you should be good. Anyways, these frogs right down here crack me up. All right, folks. Yeah, I love those. I didn't used to use them. All these like reflectives and holographics and all that type of thing. I love the papers though, the iridescence and the metallic papers, kind of historically. I didn't usually get the glitter ones, but I'm sorry, I like the glitter ones now too. But especially the I don't know, it's reflectives, that I really like using. Yeah, the face and sequence. I was thinking about that too. I was thinking about like this more sequiny. I forgot what I was looking at. I was looking at something, and there was these sequiny types of things in it. And I thought, oh, that would be kind of cool too. Let me see right here if I can get some of those like colors showing. It always grabs the thumbnail of kind of, the towards the end of the video like that. You can see a little bit more of those colors in there. So anyways, those are the colors right there. And again, where's my other sheets of that? Oh, let's see right here. I think I have 4 sheets of this, and I can't find it. On my desk here. Here, I'll just grab another sheet right here. So this is the, just the bare color of this holographic right here. But for me, that's always a little bit too loud with the holographics, but I love in scenes kind of muting them down a little bit so you get the benefit of this, the holographic tone. I left a little area in here a little bit more bare because I wanted that water area to be that way. But see, it's like even in this little area up here, it's a lot more reflective, even though it's like really white like that. But you can get those colors really kind of showing through. In here it's somewhat subtle because of all the white pigmenting, but definitely a different look than if I did this on like a white piece of paper. You know what I mean? I'd have a little bit more freedom to do whatever colors I want, but it's just kind of nice having all those different colors in there, and it's a different color at every angle. So, sometimes it's like purples in here, warm tones, there's a little bit of the orange in there, greens or whatever. So fun with holographics, just kind of tame them a little bit, for scenes. Not that you can't have a really loud scene, you can do something, with those, all those northern lights that were happening earlier in this week. So I'm glad you told me about that, Linda, because I went on Facebook and it's like, man, it's like everyone's like posting up those northern lights photographs from like their, like their front door, they title them, right from the front porch or whatever, people did these like amazing photographs of those light areas, and like tons of different colored lights too. There was all kinds of different colors, all those different, some of them were like all that reddish ones, some had that purple and green. Those are phenomenal. Anyway, yeah, you see that like purplish tinge of that, and here's some of those blues over there, but greens. I think I muted out a lot of the orange, the orangish and yellowish, but I don't know, maybe that happens. Maybe if you mute it out a little bit, maybe the warmer spectrum kind of isn't as apparent. I don't know. Anyway, late here. Yeah. Oh yeah, the black crushed glass. Do I have some? I have some other ones too. I have like these silver ones like this. And here. I think I had these two right here for this one. But if I went with, you know what I'm going to do, Linda? I think this silver right here would look really cool in imagine like a Christmas scene with like a stream coming down, but at nighttime. Okay, so you get this moon up top, You know, it could be a like a full moon or something like that. Not on this purple like this, but wouldn't this be awesome to have like in like a nighttime type of stream or something like this? You put a bunch of these like in the water or something like that. Because these ones are, I don't know, these silver ones, it seems like they're a little bit more three-dimensional, but if it was in like a riverbed, it would kind of make sense then to have it just being used as something reflective, like on water, like on an ocean I'm talking about. But yeah, on a real bluish tone scene with some of the silver like that. Anyway, more fun with some 3D elements in future videos. All right, folks. Have a nice sweet haunted dreams. Sweet haunted dreams, everyone. Thanks for joining in on this late night, midnight-ish Stampscapes spooky lab, whatever, scenario. Stay tuned for part 2 and the, whatever, scene three-dimensional embellishments in here. I think it'll really bring it to life, you know, with some extra kind of flash and texture. We'll see. All right, good night, everyone. Hope you're able to sleep nicely and have great, you know, holographic dreams.